Diamond P Sports presents the NHRA US Nationals, the panorama of speed and excitement that is championship drag racing. From Indianapolis, Indiana, this one-hour sports special highlights the record-shattering performances of the sport's top stars. Don't miss the action of the NHRA US Nationals. Diamond P Sports presents championship drag racing from the National Hot Rod Association. The 1982 US Nationals. Brought to you by Goodyear Eagles High Performance Radials, the Racing Eagles Goodyear tamed for the street. And by Motorcraft. Motorcraft offers a complete line of automotive parts to fight the enemies of your engine. Motorcraft for sure. And by English Leather. Get an A in English with English Leather and women will never fail you. Aftershave and cologne for men. Indianapolis Raceway Park, home of the world's largest and richest drag race, the oldest event in the series of races that make up the NHRA Championship Drag Racing Series. The performances recorded during the last 4 days have startled even the longtime Nationals veterans. Top Fuel qualifying blistered the quarter-mile asphalt, the elapsed time record rewritten by the #1 qualifier, Gary Beck. The pace set by Beck, reflected by the remaining cars. The spread between #1 and 16, only 29/100ths of a second. A father and son team made the Top Fuel field for the first time in history, each driving their own car. 20-year-old Scott Kalita was the #16 qualifier, his dad Connie #11. Scott's competition in the first round, Billy Williams. Kalita fell behind at the start, with Williams having a big lead as he crossed the finish line, then disaster. A giant engine explosion. Williams fighting to keep control of the car at over 250 miles an hour. The huge tires acting like giant rubber balls as Williams attempted to bring the bouncing dragster to a safe halt.
Okay, Dave, as you can see, an engine explosion, burning the parachute off of Billy Williams' car, burning it off enough where it was ineffective. But Williams is all right, did a masterful job of driving this car. He really did. He avoided the net down here, which some say you shouldn't do, but Billy had it slowed down enough. You're okay, Billy?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Right, what happened then?
I don't know. Parachute didn't come out for some reason, and
Parachute was out, but I think the fire probably burned some of it off.
it sure didn't slow the car down at all. I don't know what happened, really.
When the stress of over 250 miles an hour is continually placed on the nitro-burning engines used in Top Fuel racing, sometimes, as Joe Amato found out in round #1, something lets go. In Joe's case, this wasn't the first time this weekend. In qualifying, Joe Amato exploded a supercharger, scattering parts over the racetrack. No injuries to Joe Amato, except maybe to his bank account.
Joe and Jerry Amato doing a post-mortem on a motor that exploded 100 feet or so before the finish line, still ran 5.83. But, Joe, this one's pretty well destroyed.
Yeah, this looks like a grenade. I don't know. It's made a lot of noise. It sounded expensive.
Okay, now the restraint straps on the supercharger have done their job. Certainly one is broken, but that's to be expected. The blower is still on the race car and not out on the racetrack somewhere.
Yeah, all the cars, built well. All the safety stuff did its job. You can see the rules are definitely a help because it didn't go into the stands, which if definitely would have with the way that's broke. That's the first pass on that brand new blower. Apparently, it made the car a lot more powerful than it did before, and that's the reason why we're standing here looking at a dead soldier.
While Amato was pulling to a stop on the racetrack, his competition, Lucille Lee, was waiting patiently at the starting line. With Amato out of racing for the day, all Lucille had to do was go straight. A quick wheel stand. Lucille across the center line of the track and disqualification. With both cars out in round number 1, Billy Williams gets a big break, a bye run in the second round.
What caused it to cross the center line, Lucille?
We had a whole lot of horsepower when we left. The front wheels came up immediately. It's the highest it's ever been, and when it came down crooked. You know, I'm trying to think back, and I feel responsible as a driver for not keeping it straight, mainly because I feel bad for Mark.
Lucille Lee referring to car owner Mark Danikas. The talk of qualifying, Gary Beck. A new national elapsed time record of 5.54 seconds. But qualifying is one thing, side-by-side racing another. In round 1, Beck raced Jack Ostrander of Pontiac, Michigan, and proved that the qualifying time was only a mark to be improved. The quickest elapsed time ever recorded in Top Fuel, 5.48 seconds to cover a quarter of a mile from a standing start.
Well, Gary Beck arrives down here to an ovation from the officials in this area. The quickest elapsed time in the history of drag racing, 5:48.
Great. It was pretty strong, really.
Well, we talked earlier today. You said you were going to go out there. You're not even going to try to run 50s. You lied.
Well, we know the thing is, car's been real strong the last 3 weeks, and I'm real glad for Larry Minor to have a great running car like this.
Another car owner, Paul Candies, is very happy to have a talented young driver. Mark Oswald proved his worth against Jim Bernard when he too had a giant wheel stand. But Oswald kept the power on and drove through it to victory, completing the pairings for the second round. Oswald will race Shirley Muldowney, Gary Beck against Doug Kerhulis, and Connie Kalita will meet Dick LaHaye. The difference in times between the two nitro-burning classes continues to narrow, as Don Prudhomme proved in funny car qualifying with an all-time best of 5.63 seconds. If he had been racing in Top Fuel, Prudhomme would have qualified number 4. At the beginning of today's competition, no one has forgotten Prudhomme's performance, especially Kenny Bernstein. He was matched against Prudhomme on the record-shattering run, recording a respectable 5.90 seconds himself, while Prudhomme logged a 5.63.
Coming into the U.S. Nationals, people were talking about maybe a potential of a 5.70 with a funny car, but a 5.63. They had to check 5 different clocks to make sure it was right.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome. You know, it's hard. If I was back home and I heard this was going on here, I wouldn't believe it. But I'm driving the car, and I'm here to tell you the car's doing it. It's an incredible racetrack. It always has been here, and you know, it ran a 73 and come back with a 63.
Dale Paulding had the dubious distinction of trying to stop Prudhomme in round number 1, and he lost traction going up in smoke and crossed the center line right at the start. Prudhomme marched into round number 2. The reigning world champion Raymond Beadle and his Blue Max funny car was handed the surprise of the Nationals, a first-round defeat at the hands of Ken Veeney. Formerly an alcohol fuel competitor, Veeney made the switch to nitromethane mid-season and has been steadily improving ever since.
Ken Veeney, only his 13th ride ever in a nitro funny car, the innovator in the alcohol ranks, makes the smoothest transition to nitro we have ever seen and defeats the Blue Max.
I'm on. I mean, I can't believe it. I mean, I just don't know what to say.
578, 252.
All I need is I need a sponsor. That's all I can say. I need help.
Well, in round number 2, Ken Veeney won't get much help from Al Segrini. Don Prudhomme will square off against Tom McEwen. Kenny Bernstein races Billy Meyer, and Gary Bergen matches up with Tom Anderson. We'll be back with more exciting action from the U.S. Nationals in just a moment.
You're looking at carbon on the tip of your spark plug. It robs power and mileage. Motorcraft spark plugs fight this enemy. With Motorcraft's extended tip design, sooty carbon is actually burned away as you drive. Extended tip spark plugs from Motorcraft. For the future of your car, for sure.
You men, there's only one reason you wear cologne. Only one reason. Women. Hey, that's okay. Why do you think we use perfume? But as long as you're going to do it, you might as well do it right. Use this cologne, English leather, because English leather drives women crazy. Now, can you think of a better reason to wear a cologne? English leather drives women crazy.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dave McClelland, along with Steve Evans. We're at Indianapolis Raceway Park for all the excitement of the 28th Annual U.S. Nationals. Top Fuel Eliminator, round number 2 is at the starting line. Round number 2 of Top Fuel Racing at the U.S. Nationals, Shirley Muldowney against Mark Oswald. Shirley qualified in the number 2 spot with a spectacular 5.57 second elapsed time. Mark Oswald, the number 6 qualifier. But of course, as you saw in round number 1, the big story here, the gigantic wheel stand by the Candies and Hughes car. Steve had a chance to talk to Mark.
Right, a sensational job of driving in the first round with the wheels in the air half the time. Are you going to keep them down against Shirley?
Oh, definitely. You can't win a race like that. We were lucky to get by that round. We calmed it down quite a bit now, and I think it's going to run pretty good.
By calm it down, you mean?
Oh, try to keep the front end on the ground. Had too much clutch in it.
Oswald will need that clutch adjustment to beat this woman, Shirley Muldowney. She is the winningest woman driver in all of motorsports. A 2-time world champion against now the fastest car in all of drag racing, the Big Blue Machine from Louisiana, Candies and Hughes, the car owners, Mark Oswald, the driver. And it's up in smoke. Shirley Muldowney has an easy win. Mark Oswald losing traction. How about consistency for Shirley? 5.62 seconds at over 252 miles an hour. A great run. The next pair already fired. Here is the quickest car in all of drag racing. You saw it in round number 1 as Gary Beck ran a 5.48 seconds. Here he's running Doug Kerhulis in the second round. Steve's had a chance to catch up with Shirley Muldowney.
Shirley Muldowney continues to saw him off. Jeb Allen first round, now the world's fastest dragster, Mark Oswald. Shirley, he smoked the tires right up the line.
Did he? We thought that he would do that, yes.
Well, I hear your motor behind us talking to us. It's popping and cracking a little bit, but not a drop of oil anywhere.
That's good. Well, it was a little easier run, and I might have shifted it a little soon. I don't know, but I guess it was good enough.
Gary Beck, his eyes concentrating on the racetrack that has provided the traction thus far for his 5.48 seconds. He qualified number 1 and set the record at a 5:54. He's racing against the number 13 qualifier from Bakersfield, California, Doug Kerhulis, in the show at 5.80 seconds. Kerhulis, having one of the best seasons of his career, has now got one of the toughest races he's ever faced against the quickest man in the sport with the wheels in the air. Beck backs out of it, brings him back down. It's a close race, and Gary Beck wins it. 5.63 seconds. His speed only 243 miles an hour, and he pulled that out in just the last few feet. As we watch again at the start, look at the front end come up on Gary Beck's car. He backs off, the wheels back on the ground. He is trying his best to pull ahead of Doug Kerhulis, and the mighty horsepower of the Larry Minor car pulls it out at the last few feet.
Gary Beck celebrating his 10th anniversary here at the U.S. Nationals. He won it back in 1972 for the first time. Doug Kerhulis shakes his hands. What a job of driving, GB.
Yeah, it's leaving awful hard. It's lifting the left side up real high. We've been concerned about it. We added a little bit of lead to it. We'll probably have to put a little more on it. Track's getting better and better every round.
with the traction available. Gary Beck adding lead to the front end of the car, to the front axle, to hold those wheels on the ground. These two cars have just watched what's happened. Connie Kalita, qualified number 11. He is the father of the father-son team. We saw Scott go out in round 1. Dick LaHaye, qualified number 7. But at this point, it is anybody's race. Dick LaHaye from Lansing, Michigan, against his longtime friend from Ypsilanti, Michigan, Connie Kalita. Kalita has already won an NHRA national event this season, winning the Grand Nationals title up in Canada. Both drivers taking their time, building some horsepower in the engines. As the engines get hotter, the more horsepower that they develop. The nitromethane fuels LaHaye and Kalita, and the wheels come off LaHaye's car. Both front wheels fall off LaHaye's car. After a bit of a wheel stand, it skids to a stop. Kalita is already gone, the engine shut off, and he is coasting to a stop at the far end of the track. But LaHaye starting to climb out of the car. Let's watch again and see if we can see what happens. Severe shake in the car. As you can see, the wheels just crumple over. And he brings the car to a safe stop. No injury to Dick LaHaye. But what a way to lose a race to Connie Kalita, to have your front wheels fall off right at the starting line. The car being towed off the racetrack and will be taken back into the pits. Steve has a chance to talk to Connie.
All right, Connie Kalita listening to the PA back here to see who has lane choice when he races Gary Beck, as they both ran the exact same elapsed time. They're comparing the speeds now to try to select a lane choice, as we can hear the public address announcer, Connie.
That shouldn't be that way. The
lane choice just went to Beck.
That's not right. Do you think so?
Well, they're exactly the same elapsed times to the thousand.
You should toss the coin for it as quickest time.
You can go lobby for that.
Some you're going to win, some you don't.
Well, you and Gary Beck with identical elapsed times, that's not a race, that's more of a war.
Yeah, it is. But the lane choice could be very critical. So we'll just take a best shot at it. What can we do?
Well, maybe you can convince him to flip.
Yeah, I'll talk to him about it.
Steve, it sounds like Connie is going to be the racer rather than the politician this weekend. Here's the man that has found Christmas at the Nationals. This is Billy Williams. We saw him explode an engine. The car went off the track. He was able to keep it upright. He repaired the damage, and he got the break when Lucille Lee crossed the center line in round number 1. And Billy Williams moves into the semifinals against Shirley Muldowney. Gary Beck against Connie Kalita. 4 cars remain for one of the biggest purses ever in Top Fuel racing at the US Nationals.
Who is America's leader in radials? Goodyear. We outsell all foreign radials combined. And here's one reason why. The Goodyear Eagle GT. A high-performance radial that gives a great performance in the rain with outstanding traction and superb handling on wet, slippery turns. The Goodyear Eagle GT. It's one reason Goodyear is the leader in radials. No foreign maker of radials even comes close. When you need radials, come up to Goodyear.
You've got an $80,000 race car, and you don't have all day to wax it. So when performance counts, get McGuire's Fast Finish. It goes on that easy and wipes off that fast, leaving a deep, deep professional shine. Fast Finish, the effortless wax. When performance counts and you don't have all day, get McGuire's Fast Finish, the effortless way to a long-lasting professional shine.
At Indianapolis Raceway Park in the 28th Annual U.S. Nationals, I'm Dave McClelland along with Steve Evans, and we're getting set for round number 2 in Funny Car Eliminator. But one man has got a lot of work ahead of him. That is the race car of Tom McEwen that is scattered all over his pit area. Tom, in his first round race, exploded an engine, and that has created the stripping of this car down to the bare chassis, as a lot of his friends have gathered around to help Tom get ready for his race against Don the Snake Prudhomme. In the first round, as we look at it again, it is McEwen against Frank Hawley. Hawley is here in the near lane, McEwen in the far lane. Up in smoke goes Hawley, the advantage to McEwen. The car travels down the racetrack and then explodes in a ball of fire at the finish line. Steve has had a chance to talk to Tom and ask him how is he getting ready for this race with Don Prudhomme.
It'll be good. We race every weekend, and he's a tough man to beat, so we've got a lot of help, and Lombardo loaned us a supercharger, and Roland's crew is over here helping us, and we're putting another motor in the car and fixing the windshield and everything, so we're trying to get back so we can go up and do battle with the snake, so we'll see.
Okay, good luck.
Tom McEwen, lots of work ahead of him before he races Don Prudhomme. Billy Meyer, one of the 2 Texans involved in this race. He is going against Kenny Bernstein. Meyer, hailing from Waco, Texas, started his driving career at the tender age of 16 in a funny car. He's the number 3 qualifier here at the U.S. Nationals. For Kenny Bernstein, now of Dallas, Texas, qualified in the number 7 spot at a 5.90.
All right, how does Kenny Bernstein approach racing the fastest funny car in the world, Billy Meyer?
Fearful, very much so. Well, obviously, he'll run good. He ran 88, 588 in the first round, and we're a 93. He's got a lane choice. Fastest car in the world. He's tough.
We'll find out how tough Billy Meyer is against Kenny Bernstein. 2 very evenly matched cars. Not a whole lot separating them on the basis of their performance thus far. And they're a great race off the starting line. It looks like Bernstein has a bit of a lead. And then that top-end horsepower from Billy Meyer, 5.84 seconds elapsed time. His speed, 251 miles an hour. And when we call it close, Kenny Bernstein just a heartbeat behind at a 5.95 seconds. The next car is a team car of Kenny Bernstein, this time driven by Tom Anderson. He is racing a former champion here, Gary Bergen, the Orange Baron, out of Stanton, California. Steve is with Billy.
Well, Billy Meyer, you said you were striving for consistency. You've got it. Another climb in the 580s and a big speed over 250, which will back up a new record.
That's good. I don't know if I was a little bit late or not. Do you know?
Just a fraction.
I saw him very much. I remember we shifted. We moved back and forth in about 600 feet with our top in charge. It helped quite a bit. So.
Billy Meyer reflecting the pressure that builds here at the U.S. Nationals. Here is the team car of Kenny Bernstein, this one driven by Tom Anderson. Anderson qualified number 2, a sterling 5.79 seconds, one of the all-time quickest times ever for a funny car. For Gary Bergen, he qualified number 6 at a 5.88 seconds. This is round number 2 of racing. The winner of this pair will advance into the semifinals, and they're both up in smoke off the starting line. Tommy Anderson looks to be out of control, and Gary Bergen recovers to win the race. 6.56 seconds at 239 miles an hour. But this is one of those cases where who cares how quick you go or how fast, all you're interested in is getting to the finish line first. You can see Anderson in the Kenny Bernstein team car going out of control. Gary Bergen keeps his car pointed in a straight line, and he heads right down to the end of the quarter mile and takes the win.
Well, we talk about drivers' races. You just saw one. The driver that recovered first as they both smoked the tires was victorious, and that's Gary Bergen. Good driving, Gary.
Thank you, Steve.
He smoked the tires just about the same time you did.
I saw that, and then I stepped back on the throttle and got around him, and it just got to the finish line first.
Well, both of you did everything possible to win that one.
Yeah, we sure did. This is a big race to win.
Oh, yeah. Gary Bergen won it once a long time ago.
Steve, it was way back in 1976 that Gary Bergen was the funny car champ at the U.S. Nationals, but all eyes are on the starting line as the sleek fiberglass body is lowered down over Ken Vini's car, the man they call the Innovator.
You build so much of your own stuff. What on this car have you manufactured?
Oh, I make the heads and rocker arm assemblies and valve covers, manifolds. Let's see. I didn't build a blower on this one, but
you could.
I'd have.
Your motto is, if you can't afford it, build it, huh?
That's what I've had to do so far. I think you try a little harder when you don't have very much money. Maybe that's what it's all about.
If Ken Vini tries much harder, he may leave all of his competition clear back on the eastern seaboard. As he has blistered this asphalt here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, his mid-season switch to nitro has left them all shaking their heads. Here in round number 2, Ken Vini is going against this man, the number 8 qualifier, Al Segrini, who came into the program with a 5.91 second elapsed time. The burnouts are completed for both cars. Concentration now on the electronic starting device, the Christmas tree. Al Segrini and Ken Vini. Segrini falling behind at the start, and look at Ken Vini across the finish line. The quickest time, he ties the national record of Don Prudhomme at 5.73 seconds and sets a new national speed record at over 254 miles an hour. Tom McEwen has got his car back together. He is matched up against Don Prudhomme here in the second round of racing. Right now, let's go to Steve.
There's a good possibility that you, Ken Vini, in this fairy tale effort today, have just set both ends of the national funny car record. They're looking at the backup, doing the math right now. Fantastic.
Fantastic. I don't know what to say.
573. 254.
And no nitrous oxide. That's all
you don't need the Red Rocket doesn't need it.
I don't know what to say. I can't say anything. I'm just dumbfounded.
Well, you're now the man to beat. You've got lane choice. Everybody's talking Ken Vini all the way.
Hey, thank you. I can't say anything.
Tom McEwen, after replacing all the parts in his car, is back running. Don Prudhomme, the quickest man ever in a funny car, has also known the parts breakage problems this weekend. Steve asked him about it.
So the engine in the car is the last bullet you have?
Yeah, we have enough parts, I think, to keep going. But, you know, the competition out here is really tough, too. You know, we set some new records, and but it was costly.
But you go from 580s to 560s. You just find the next weak link?
That's exactly right. You know, you pick up an extra tenth of a second and a few miles an hour, and all of a sudden the wrist pins on the engine isn't strong enough, and you destroy $10,000 worth of parts. But we proved that these funny cars can run darn near with the top field dragsters. You know, a 563. It's incredibly
hard to even say, isn't it?
It is.
The evolution of drag racing, a costly one for Don Prudhomme, but he has got the record at a 573. He has run as quick as a 563. This a rematch of the finals of the U.S. Nationals 1978. Then it was Tom McEwen winning. This time it is Don Prudhomme. And look at the times, 5.77 seconds, only 218 miles an hour as Don Prudhomme moves into the semifinals to race Billy Meyer. Ken Vini against Gary Bergen, as we'll return in just a moment to the U.S. Nationals.
This bud's for the Paul Newman Can-Am Racing Team.
This bud's for you, for all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, while you're watching all the red-hot action, that's the time to cool off with the king of beers.
For all you do.
This bud's for you.
Who makes the best-selling radials in America? Goodyear. We outsell all foreign radials combined. One reason? The Goodyear Arriva. It gives you long tread life. And best of all season traction in the wet stuff and the white stuff. The Goodyear all-season Arriva. It's one reason Goodyear is the leader in radials. No foreign maker of radials even comes close. When you need radials, come up to Goodyear.
Back at the U.S. Nationals, we've just seen Don Prudhomme win his race to move into the semifinals, but the big story in funny car has been the performance of Ken Veeney.
We'll talk about incredible. He may have taken your record away from you on that Western.
That's what I understand. Yeah, he's really running good, isn't he?
Hard to believe.
Yeah, you never know. We'll see.
Okay.
The relaxed confidence of a true champion, Don Prudhomme. Right now, it's Pro Stock semifinals at the Nationals. Ford versus Chevrolet, these factory hot rods running on gasoline and carburetors at over 175 miles an hour. Here is Frank Iaconio driving the bright yellow Chevrolet Camaro. He is matched against the reigning world champion. Frank Iaconio taking time out to talk to his dog just a little bit before going into the semifinal round. His competition, though, he's the reigning world champ. He has already locked up this season's world championship. Lee Shepard, he's talking to his car. Shepard and Iaconio in the semifinals of Pro Stock, and they leave just as if they are one. At the center of the track, it is anybody's race. At the finish line, Frank Iaconio pulls it out by inches at over 173 miles an hour. He records a 7.81 second elapsed time. As we watch again, you see how even it was at the starting line. Then as they go down the track, they remain side by side until just at the finish line, by a matter of inches and by 1,000th of a second, Frank Iaconio gets there first. He's into the finals. His competition will be one of these two cars, the Ford of Bob Glidden or the Chevrolet Camaro of Don Kuntz and Albert Clark. Kuntz, the driver, his partner Albert Clark, working diligently on this car to get it ready to race. For Bob Glidden, a many-time national event champion, he has won the world championship 4 times. Don Kuntz, this his best finish ever in Pro Stock racing. The tachometers in the cars recording RPMs over 10 and 11,000 for these gasoline-burning cars, and a red light start for Kuntz. An automatic win for Bob Glidden in the Ford EXP. Kuntz exploding a motor as he crosses the finish line. He keeps the car under control, but obviously some problems with that 500 cubic inch engine. There you see Don Kuntz leaving the starting line just a hair too soon. The red light indicating he loses, and Bob Glidden moves into the Pro Stock finals at the Nationals against Frank Iaconio. In the pits, Steve is with loser Lee Shepard.
Lee Shepard's girlfriend, Marcia Brown, trying to console him here in defeat. It was just whoever let the clutch out first on that one.
Yeah, it looks that way, Steve.
And Frankie did.
Yeah, he did. Well, he's been driving real good lately, and it's hard to get a light on him every time.
Lee Shepard may have lost this battle, but he won the war, having already clinched the world champion title for the 2nd year in a row. In addition to the professional categories in racing here at the Nationals, Sportsman Eliminator have been in competition. In the Stock Eliminator final, S.E. Buchanan in the far lane from Hot Springs, Arkansas, takes on Northville, Michigan's Don McElroy. Buchanan in the Ford Mustang had the head start and held on for the win, taking his 2nd ever NHRA title and some $6,700. A big break for Greg Tabler in Super Stock Eliminator as his competition, Ron Cosner, was unable to answer the final round call, taking his first ever win. Greg Tabler winning about $7,700 as the Super Stock champion. In Super Gas Eliminator, Stan Strazala against Bob Phillips. A close race to the finish line, but it's Strazala there first, the 31-year-old from Elkton, Maryland, winning about $7,500 as the Super Gas champ. Competition Eliminator sees a big head start going to David Nickens of Houston, Texas. Following behind him and trying to play catch-up is Gary Brown from Buford, Georgia. The 29-year-old Brown wheels the Camaro past the Datsun at the finish line. $8,900 in the competition eliminator title to Gary Brown. A red light start settles the top fuel motorcycle. Terry Kaiser from Houston, Texas leaves just a hair too soon, and the win to Roland Stewart from Gainesville, Florida. In Pro Comp Eliminator, the classic matchup of the dragster versus the funny car. The alcohol-burning car see Bob Gottschalk in the Ohio Thunder funny car defeat Galen Roji in the dragster to win his 2nd national event title this season. Some 1,000 racers started competition here about 6 days ago. Our congratulations going to all the Sportsman Eliminator champions. Another winner of an award is with Steve Evans.
Out of the over 1,000 cars entered here at the U.S. Nationals, the McGuire's Wax people have selected this stunning 1982 Pontiac Trans Am Pro Stocker as best appearing car of the entire event. It's owned by Ronnie Manchester of Westport, Massachusetts. It was built by Don Ness Racecraft, the body and chassis anyway. It took some 28 weeks to construct this Pro Stocker. Manchester owns a body shop in Massachusetts, and he personally applied the absolutely gorgeous red paint. Everywhere you look, it is chromed, it is anodized, it is polished. It's also very, very fast. It qualified in the field here. So our congratulations to Ronnie Manchester for what just about everybody feels is the finest Pro Stocker ever built.
While a lot of work is going on in the pit area, here's one fan that's catching a few winks when he has a chance. We'll be right back at the U.S. Nationals.
You're looking at the enemy of your engine. Abrasive dirt in the oil. It can wear out your engine before it's time. Motorcraft oil filters fight the enemy. Motorcraft FL1A oil filters trap more dirt. Last longer than any other leading filter. Motorcraft oil filters for the future of your car, for sure.
Who is America's leader in radials? Goodyear. We outsell all foreign radials combined. One reason? The Goodyear Wrangler. A light truck radial that's all season, all terrain, all position. Wrangler gives you outstanding traction, so you can take it just about anywhere. The Goodyear all-season Wrangler. It's one reason Goodyear is the leader in radials. No foreign maker of radials even comes close. When you need radials, come up to Goodyear.
Back at the U.S. Nationals at this sprawling facility known as Indianapolis Raceway Park, carved out of the central Indiana countryside. One of the finalists is from nearby Whiteland.
Well, Bob Glidden is apparently out chasing parts or something and has left the preparation of the Ford car for the final Pro Stock up to Wyfetta, and she's capable of doing it. What do you do to get one of these ready?
Well, there's a lot. After each run, you have to pull the valve covers and check the valves and check the valve springs. We changed some stuff in the carburetors, reset the floats, and we're switching the tires from side to side, and now I'm getting ready to check the air pressure.
And what's this around your neck here?
This is my tire gauge.
Well, let's do it. I'll go with you. How much air are we going to put in these, or is that a secret?
No, it's not a secret. I keep them at 5 pounds until we get in the staging lanes, and then I put them down to 4.5, and then just before he runs out, I use 4 1/4.
And tire pressure, very important that it's equal.
Yes, very important that both tires are equal, so when he launches, that one doesn't override the other one.
We'll find out in just a few moments how well Etta Glidden did in preparing that Ford EXP. But right now, it's the semifinals of Top Fuel Eliminator. Billy Williams against Shirley Muldowney, and Billy has had a couple of big breaks. One, the car stayed upright in round 1 after that massive engine explosion. In round number 2, he got a single. Steve had a chance to ask Shirley what she knows about Billy.
Shirley Muldowney, tell me about Billy Williams. That's your next opponent.
I don't know much about Billy. I know he was very good in the alcohol classes. He's a real nice guy. I think he's a pretty good driver, but I don't know much about, you know, how consistent his equipment is. I'm hoping it isn't too consistent.
For Shirley, she has been the picture of consistency throughout this event. She qualified in the 550s, has been through eliminations in the 560 elapsed time bracket. A good start for Billy Williams. He's right alongside Shirley Muldowney, but then the superior horsepower pulling ahead. and Shirley wins it 5.65 seconds at over 245 miles an hour. Gary Beck, the quickest man in all of drag racing, coming up to race Connie Kalita in the second race of this round of Top Fuel Eliminator. Steve's at the finish line with Shirley.
Shirley Muldowney continues her march towards what could be a third World Championship title at season's end, but more important now, her second ever U.S. Nationals final round berth. She lost the last time she was in this position and doesn't intend for that to happen again. Congratulations, you're in the finals.
Thank you. It's what an honor.
5:65.
That's good enough. That may do it.
What Shirley thinks is good enough is her elapsed time of 5.65 seconds. The choice of lanes goes to the racer with the lowest ET of the previous round of racing. Here we have Connie Kalita looking over at his competition, the quickest man in drag racing. Gary Beck driving Larry Minor's car from El Toro, California. He has run 5.48 seconds. That would easily eclipse Shirley Muldowney's 5:65, but that was set earlier in the day. The track conditions are different. The atmosphere is different. And Kalita with a great lead. Something goes away at the very start on Gary Beck's car, and the upset of the race, Connie Kalita with a 5.68 seconds, 0.03 of a second slower, and Shirley knows she has lane choice in the finals when she meets her former crew chief, Connie Kalita, for the title, the 28th annual Nationals champion. Funny car eliminator Don Prudhomme nodding to his crewman. Sitting right in front of Don Prudhomme is 2,500 horsepower of nitro-burning Hemi engine. It's supercharged. It is fuel injected. The crewman turning on the fire extinguisher bottles and then lowering the fiberglass body down over Don Prudhomme. At the finish line, Connie Kalita.
All right, lane choice isn't going to be that big a factor, is it?
I don't think so. The driving is, though.
Oh, yeah. Anytime you and this lady meet, it's a bit of a war.
Yes, it is. It's going to be a hell of a good drag race.
You take great pride in trying to leave on her.
I wouldn't do that. It's ladies before gentlemen, isn't it?
The KG veteran Connie Kalita obviously enjoying himself here at the 28th Annual U.S. Nationals. He's in the finals of Top Fuel. Here, the first race in the semifinal round of Funny Car Eliminator, the quickest funny car in the world, Don Prudhomme in the near lane. In the far lane, one of the fastest ever, Billy Meyer. And this has got to be on both their minds. Steve had a chance to talk in the pits with Billy.
The world's fastest funny car, you, Billy Meyer, versus the world's quickest funny car, him, Don Prudhomme. What do you think?
I think he's going to be out in front of me somewhere because he's running so quick and he's not running any mile an hour.
Shutting off early, you think?
It's shutting itself off, I think, but right now that didn't matter. So at some point in time, I think I'm going to be chasing him down at the other end. Hope I get there before he does.
Don Prudhomme, having recorded a 5.77 in the previous round, has got to be favored over this man, Billy Meyer. But every time Don Prudhomme seems to run quick, he hurts parts. He is beginning to whittle down his supply of aluminum engines, and they leave almost together. A great lead by Prudhomme, a little bit of flicker of flame, and Billy Meyer wins the race, coming from behind, just as he predicted, a 5.94 at over 252 miles an hour. Prudhomme builds the lead in the middle of the course. There you saw just a little flash of flame indicating possible some engine damage. The parachute out, that may have slowed him somewhat, but Billy Meyer wins the race over Don Prudhomme.
Well, Billy Meyer, it still takes a driver in one of these cars. Your starting line prowess paid off that time.
Yeah, I feel like I won the race.
You did win the race.
Yeah, I mean the whole damn race. Oh, me. I appreciate it.
This business is hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, how about that? It's gets kind of emotional after 7 days of this stuff. What
slowed down to 5.94.
Oh, did we really? What mile an hour?
I don't know.
I tell you, it was just what I talked to you about before. This little deal right here. He got out about a car out on me about 400 or 500 foot, and I said, "Please, bull, please." I guess he did.
Our last two cars in the semifinal round, Ken Veeney against Gary Bergen. We had a chance to ask Ken Veeney why, when he was at the top of the alcohol game, did he switch to nitro?
I always wanted to do it, and I just figured sometime I was going to do it before I quit, and I didn't really have the enthusiasm with the alcohol to really do good.
You'd done it all.
I just didn't feel like I had anything to do, and I was bored.
He got rid of his boredom in mid-season as Ken Veeney moved to nitromethane. He has run a 5.73 at this event. he has to be favored over this man, the Orange Baron, the 1976 Nationals champion, Gary Bergen from Stanton, California. Vini from Wadsworth, Ohio. Searching for a sponsor, but showing everyone in nitro racing what it's all about, and he goes up in smoke. There goes Gary Bergen, and Ken Vini cannot catch him. Gary Bergen into the finals, 5.93 seconds. He takes the lane choice over Billy Meyer as they move into the finals, and Ken Vini up in smoke. Gary Bergen, a happy man.
Gary Bergen, you won this race, what, back in '76, and this is your first final round appearance here since. You have lane choice with a 5.93 over Billy Meyer.
I'm glad. I mean, we wanted to do this for a long time, Steve. In the year after we won in 1977, I felt like that we controlled the race and we had to shoot prematurely come out, and we lost it. We've been trying to be in the final ever since.
Well, here you go against Meyer. Can you go any quicker, or do you even take the chance of trying?
I think it'll probably run quicker. We're going to try, I think.
Okay, Gary Bergen goes back to the pits to get ready for the biggest race in drag racing.
Steve, there's another team getting ready for the biggest race in drag racing. Connie Kalita has got troubles. You see a racing engine being stripped down to the absolute bare block. Parts and pieces being taken off, swapped around, trying to get ready for the finals against Shirley Muldowney. In funny car, it's Billy Meyer against Gary Bergen. Pro stock, Bob Glidden in the Ford against Iaconio Chevrolet. We'll be right back.
Get tough. Protect your car with Meguiar's lifetime polysealant system. Tough protection from polymer technology and 50 years of professional car wax experience. Meguiar's, a blend of tough polymers, expensive waxes, and silicones. Get Meguiar's Deep Shine in one easy step. A shine so tough, we dare to give you a guarantee for the life of your car. Meguiar's in liquid or paste.
This Bud's for everyone who's got the heart and courage to go the distance. Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser. This Bud's for you.
At the U.S. Nationals, frantic action going on in the Connie Kalita pit area as he tries to prepare his car for the finals against Shirley Muldowney, where a bit of a contrast takes place as things are relatively calm around Shirley's car. Her crew going about their tasks of preparing the car. We'll be seeing that finals in Top Fuel in just a moment, but right now let's see who's going to win Pro Stock Eliminator. Will it be the Chevrolet of Frank Iaconio? He was a runner-up here before, and he has never won the U.S. Nationals title. His competition, though, is Bob Glidden, driving the Ford EXP. Glidden has been a national champion many times here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. He knows how to handle the pressure. Can he get the performance out of the car to take the win? Both cars concentrating on that series of lights known as the Christmas tree, and a great start for Iaconio. Just a few feet ahead as they leave the starting line. Can he hold on at the finish? He does. It is Frank Iaconio, the Pro Stock champion. 7.80 seconds. His speed 173 miles an hour. The race won at the starting line as the elapsed times identical. 7.80. As they approach the finish, you see how close it was. There they go, 4/1000ths of a second. Frank Iaconio, the champion.
As the Pro Stock finalists roll in here, I don't think either one of them knows who won. You won. Frank Iaconio, identical 780 elapsed times.
Really? Oh, my God. I knew I won. I saw the win light when I come to the traps. Because the scoreboards are just a little ahead when you cross the finish line. I saw the light come on.
Right, that's the sound of Bob Glidden leaving here in haste. Had it not been for that light, you wouldn't have known, I don't think.
No. Other than that, you know, it was so close, I couldn't tell who won.
Greatest ever victory for you here?
Yeah. The only other time I was in '76, I was runner-up, and since then I haven't done anything here.
Well, he's won 2 national events this year, the Winter Nationals and now the U.S. Nationals from New Jersey. Frank Iaconio defeats 5-time world champion Bob Glidden.
And Steve, he takes home some $18,000 for the Pro Stock Championship. Funny car eliminator and a bit of a switch. Gary Bergen moves over into the right-hand lane. He had lane choice. Throughout the day, the racer with the low elapsed time basically has taken the left-hand lane. He gave it to Billy Meyer. Will it make a difference? We'll find out in a few moments. Billy Meyer, way back in the early 70s when he was only 19 years old, was in the finals at the Nationals. He did not win that race. Gary Bergen, of course, a champion here back in 1976. As darkness falls, up in smoke goes Bergen. And there is the winner of Funny Car Eliminator, Billy Meyer. And he did not take it easy. He recorded an outstanding 5.91 second elapsed time at 247 miles an hour, one of his slower races of the day. And there's where Bergen lost the race. He smoked the tires, he lost traction. As in the gathering darkness, you see the flames of those nitro engines standing tall off the headers.
Well, the disappointment of that 19-year-old a few years back will now be replaced with a $30,000 smile on the face of Billy Meyer, his first ever U.S. Nationals victory. Congratulations.
Feels very good. Feels very good.
And very emotional.
Yeah, I'll just thank the Lord.
All right, Billy Meyer, whose young first son was born just last week, and this was for him, for Adam.
It's my wife.
And a big boost towards a world championship. A lot of points are paid here, more than any other race. Billy Bergen smoked the tires instantly.
I saw it. I think I was a little bit late. And my car leaves pretty slow in his left, and I saw him all of a sudden, and I went by him, so I just shifted it quick and just tried to get it down there. We probably, what, run 610 or something?
On the 590s.
Did we really? How about that?
Billy Meyer reflecting the emotion of the moment, but for Connie Colita, it looks like we're going to have a race. He's just about got his car back together to run Shirley Muldowney in the finals of Top Fuel Eliminator and the most prestigious championship drag racing title of them all, Top Fuel National Champion. We'll be back in just a moment at Indianapolis Raceway Park.
Who is America's leader in radials? Goodyear. We outsell all foreign radials combined. And here's one reason why. The Goodyear Eagle GT. A high-performance radial that gives a great performance in the rain with outstanding traction and superb handling on wet, slippery turns. The Goodyear Eagle GT. It's one reason Goodyear is the leader in radials. No foreign maker of radials even comes close. When you need radials, come up to Goodyear.
This Bud's for the Paul Newman Can-Am Racing Team.
This Bud's for you, for all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, while you're watching all the red-hot action, that's the time to cool off with the king of beers.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
The final pair of cars at the U.S. Nationals. It has taken 6 days to reach this point, but the Top Fuel national champion will be decided in a very few seconds. Shirley Muldowney has never won this title before. She has won 14 other national events. She is the only person ever to win the Top Fuel World Championship twice. Her competition, the KG veteran, Connie Kalita. He won a national event title way back in the late 1960s. He won his second one this year when he defeated Shirley Muldowney in Montreal, Canada. Connie Kalita was the crew chief for Shirley Muldowney when she won her first world champion title back in 1977. He came back to the sport, has done exceptionally well as a driver, and is here matched up against Shirley in the finals of the 28th annual U.S. Nationals. Over $30,000 riding on this one single run. Shirley Muldowney against Connie Kalita. A great start for both cars, and Kalita drifts away out of the center of the track, and Shirley Muldowney pulls straight ahead for the win. She has won her first ever national title. The crew reflecting the glory that is Shirley Muldowney's at this event. Her crew chief, Ron Tobler, along with her son, John Muldowney, very happy, along with the rest of the crew. A great race for Shirley. Connie acquitting himself exceptionally well as Shirley Muldowney wins the Nationals.
Shirley Muldowney wins her first ever U.S. National Championship in the quickest side-by-side drag race in history, a 5:57 for Shirley Muldowney, some $30,000 to this young woman. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'll take that, Shirley, tell me about the race.
We weren't that worried about him. He had to borrow a motor from our good friend, the Budweiser man, and we thought that was his downfall.
Okay, now this gives you a big lead towards a world championship. I don't think anybody can catch you now.
I don't think so either.
Congratulations again.
Thank you, NHRA.
The president of the National Hot Rod Association, Wally Parks, coming in for a hug. Boy, I like these lady champions. They're a lot more fun than the guys. Oh, and Wally, what a U.S. Nationals we had. Absolutely unbelievable.
Well, I think this is one of the most memorable ones I've seen. We're all so excited all day long, and it was just out of this world.
I think it's going to take us a few days to digest what we saw.
I think so. There was so much action, so many records that it's going to take a long time to go through all the results, but boy, it was a honey.
Right you are, Wally. A tremendous race, this 28th annual U.S. Nationals. For Steve Evans, I'm Dave McClellan saying so long from Indianapolis Raceway Park. The 1982 U.S. Nationals has been brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers. Reach for that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you. And by Meguiar's Car Wax. For over 50 years, Meguiar's quality waxes and polishes have been the choice of car care experts. And by Goodyear Eagle, high-performance radials, the Racing Eagles Goodyear tame for the street. Promotional consideration provided for and a fee paid by Bardol. World-famous Bardol makes your car last longer, run better. Bardol saves you money. Available at Kmart and most auto parts stores. And by trustworthy hardware stores, the Problem Solvers. Do-it-yourself hardware professionals supplying your needs with quality products and expert advice. And by the MVP microwave oven from Magic Chef. The combination microwave oven vent hood that rises above the problem of where to put it, furnished by Magic Chef. Additional consideration provided for and a fee paid by...
I did home repairs with plastic wood. I fixed my table, molded my hutch, filled holes in my paneling. Plastic wood is so easy, even you guys can use it. I'm very handy thanks to 3-in-1 oil. It fights rust, lubricates, stops squeaks. 3-in-1 oil is so easy, even you guys can use it.
The executive producer of Diamond P Sports is Harvey M. Palish, produced and directed by John B. Mullen. Coverage of the National Hot Rod Association U.S. Nationals is a presentation of Diamond P Sports.